showing the arm lock. Let me move over here so you can see better. So we did the crossing talon, break, elbow, circle, elbow, punches, or side kick, heel hands, 1, 2, 3. We step, staying really low, double hammer fist, grab the face, peel the head back, hard bow, heel of hand, hard bow, heel of hand. We take our left foot, we step toward 6 o'clock, toward the back, away from where you started the kata with your left foot. 6 o'clock, with like a cross step. Pivot into a horse stance. As you land in the horse stance, fire an elbow directly back towards 6 o'clock. So you're turning, again, using your core muscles, those cross steps prior to impact. It's like winding up a spring. And then when you unwind, you're activating a lot of muscle. Using a close-in weapon, an elbow, you're hitting him in the temple or the face, whatever you can hit. And that's going to create a lot of damage. Should make the guy let go. So when he grabs you, you grabbed him as you did that cross step behind your back. You show a grab. You practice that grab. So you're used to it in a fight. Grab him, elbow to the head. You keep holding him. Come around and hook your arm around his arm. And his arm is now pressed against your back, and you're putting pressure on his elbow. You're making his elbow go that way. It's not designed to go that way. That hurts a lot, so you're gonna hook his arm. And we're gonna end up breaking that arm too. So we got in the shot here. So we did hammer fist, grab, hard bow, heel of hand, grab behind your back, horse stance, elbow, circle, hard bow. Take your right foot, step toward 45 degrees, and on the clock, that'd be 4:30, 45 degrees. This is still behind your back, and break the arm. Right about here is when you would break the arm. Kata 5 though, this wouldn't work in a fight because you can't sever someone's arm, but you show on this portion that your elbow is coming up even higher. So we stop there for a second. And now we're going to pivot 180 degrees. So we're going to be facing back toward that corner, which is the 10:30 corner. So I'm going to pivot around. I'm going to drop my hands down by my side and then a hard bow. And come around in a big circle. I'm going to come down with my hands this way, open, as I drive a right knee up about solar plex level. So that would be, you break the guy's arm, he starts to fall in, you put your hands behind his head and you drive his head down as your back knee comes up into the face. And a knee is the most powerful part of our anatomy as a martial artist. You know, elbows are great, but a knee, oh man, you have so much more muscle, so much more mass. You can do a crazy amount of damage with a knee. It's been proven over and over in different dynamic testing from different practitioners from many different martial arts that a flying knee in particular, getting your body weight behind it, is the most devastating amount of just blunt force trauma. We know in our system that something as delicate as an eye dart right into the eye actually would be more effective and probably stop the fight way faster. But if you wanted just to impart the most brute force, that would be a knee. And one of the best places to knee somebody to end a fight quickly is hit them in the control center, right? Hit them in the head. And you're also forcing the head into that knee. You're hitting right in the maxilla, and you're just crushing all those sinuses. That's rough. So let's review that. So we're off at 45 degrees doing headlock. Grabbed him, elbow, heel of hand. Grab the wrists, cross step, horse stance. Fire the elbow to the head, hook around. We go to another hard bow to trap the guy. Step toward 45 degrees, which is going to be out toward 4:30. Break the arm, pivot 180 degrees around, arms go down by your side, going out toward 1030, big circle, knee. And then from the knee, we're going to step in toward that same corner toward 1030. I'm going to step forward into a hard bow, drive down punches. That once again would be to break out of a low grip. Somebody's got you low. Using the outside portion of your arms like a wedge. Stepping in, give you a lot of power to break free. So I'm in a hard bow, going toward that corner. Then I'm going to kind of keep my hands where they are. I'm going to cross step forward with my left foot toward the same corner. My hands are now behind me. I show a grab with my left hand, rotate to a horse. I'm going to snap out of the grip with my right hand. Big circle, elbow to the spine. Then a hard bow toward 430. Another big downward motion with my hands. And another big knee. Kind of like we did before. So, no symmetry in this kata. It's tricky. I really advise you at this point to just stop the video and do it up to there over and over and over and over and over and over. You know, a lot of times in traditional Chinese system, they would want the practitioner to learn 4 or 5 steps and then to practice it literally 1,000 times between that lesson and the next time with their sifu. 1,000 times. So to learn this whole kata in one episode is too onerous. It's asking too much. I have seen people do it, but it's very difficult. I wouldn't advise it. It's better to break this up and just do a lot of repetition, and then use the video as a reference to make sure you're getting the angles right, and slow it down if you need to, but really get the best form you can. Because if we practice something over and over and it's a little bit off, it does imprint the problem or the error into us too. So we have to be careful. Go slow, take your time, do it over and over, the best form you can. And once you feel really solid with it, then gradually pick up your speed. Speed should always be coming as a last instance. It's exciting to do it early, but it's very detrimental. It throws off your form. All right, so we're getting near the end. Not a whole lot left, but we just finished the technique called shackle break. They have you in a shackle hold, pulling your arms back behind you, and you're gonna grab the wrist, one of his wrist, you're gonna pivot, break free of the other hand, and then using this hand, you can pull the guy in, get him in closer, and elbow him again in his back, probably up near the cervical spine this time. And then you can bring him into a knee to the head, just like we did before. The next thing we do, we often call winds of silk. It's in Kata 6 or long 3 in Kempo, but it's a really cool sequence. We call it winds of silk, and this is usually designed to break out of a bear hug pinned. Somebody's got you pinned, you can't move your arms, and you end up elbowing back and breaking free with one hand, and then you end up hooking his arm and breaking it. But we're going to just go over kind of a simplified version of this that looks really good in the form, and it's a little bit easier to do than what you would do in an actual fight. Would be a little bit different. So again, katas often are skewed or different from the actual fight application for various reasons. One might be for aesthetics, because you're doing it in demonstration, you want it to look clean. So maybe a punch is supposed to be going to the solar plexus, but you might fire it at the shoulder just to have a nice clean straight line. But in a fight, maybe you're going solar plexus. Also, many times in Chinese history and history of all the different countries who've utilized martial arts, there's come a time when martial arts became illegal. Government didn't want people to do it because they were becoming essentially too powerful, and they made it illegal, but people found a way where they could still practice martial arts by disguising it. And like in capoeira, we see like a dance form. All the martial arts have katas that are very hard to understand unless your teacher helps you to, after you learned it, to show how the application works, where it's changed a little bit. So sometimes it was done for secretive reasons, either that you wanted to hide it so that the government or the officials couldn't see that you're practicing as a martial artist, or maybe you wanted to wait a while as a teacher to really make sure you knew somebody, make sure they were a person of character before you taught them the application. But still to this day, many of these traditional forms have pieces in them that don't make the most sense until your teacher kind of unscrambles it. So here we go. We did break free. We did the elbow to the back. We did the hard bow. Did a really big left knee. And then from there, we're going to jump up and land toward 45 degrees, going out now toward about 1:30. So that's 12 o'clock, out toward 1:30. And as we do that, we're going to do a right elbow behind us, left heel of hand down by our side. It's supposed to be helping to break the bear hug pin. We're also going to be driving our right knee up. The application, though, in the form's a little bit different, or in fights are a little bit different. You're lifting your heel up, hitting them in the groin. In the form, we do it with basically another knee. We did a left knee out toward 45 degrees back here when we ended shackle break, and we shift 90 degrees and do a right knee out toward this corner as we do those two together. Call it winds of silk. So we did the knee, jump up. We're going to land with our right foot to a horse stance toward that same 45-degree angle. As you land, you're going to hook around. If somebody grabs your shoulder, you can use your tricep to break free, hook it behind your arm, and you cause the arm to bend the wrong way. You gain control right away. That'll be in a guard. So that's the winds of silk. I finish shackle break with the knee, going toward 45 degrees. I'm going to jump up, land, hook, and I'll cross step with my left foot toward the corner, pivot into a bow, hard bow, break the arm behind the back, looking out toward 45 degrees. Right as I get to that break, I do something unusual. I shift my attention toward 12 o'clock. So even though I'm breaking out toward about 1:30, I shift my eyes and I look toward 12 o'clock right as I break, because I'm being attacked by somebody new. This is essentially the last person in the kata. This person's at 12 o'clock, and what they've done is grab me with their left hand, and they're going to try to use their right hand to punch me in the face. So they grab me, punch me in the face. And I'm going to do a technique called the phoenix. In the phoenix, when they grab me, I'll trap their hand right away. It's just a rule of fighting, is when somebody grabs you or puts your hand up high, try to get your hand higher than their hand, the upper hand. That allows you to be able to attack their throat or their eyes, and it prevents them from using their weapon to attack your throat or your eyes, right? You put their hand high, you trap. So I'll trap the hand. As I trap the hand, I'll block the punch. I can't block it with the normal soft hand block that would go like this, though, because his arm's still kind of in the way. So I do a weird kind of block. It has a U shape. We call it a swoop U block. I still want to knock the punch out of the way, but I can't do it the way I want to. So I have this swooping U block. And at the same time, I'll kick the guy with a right front kick to the groin, just a real quick low kick. In the form, though, I have people practice at about solar plex level. Idea of overtraining again. But we want to have a nice snap kick with a good return crane. And after we do the parry and the kick, so remember we were in a bow, we did the break, we shift our eyes toward 12 o'clock, we do the trap and the block, we do the snap kick, solar plexus, and we come back to a crane. So we break, look at 12 o'clock, snap kick, and we're going to step in. As we step in with our right foot, we land in a horse. As we land in a horse, our right arm goes way around behind us in a big arc. So we go from the crane, big arc. We drive our arm down, drive our tricep down on top of that arm that was grabbing us. We knock that thing off. That's the idea of get off of me, right? Knock it off. And that brings his head in. As his head comes in, you elbow the jaw. You try to make your fist like touch your back. elbow the jaw, and then come through and blind him with that falcon's talon right to his eyes. So he knocked his head back, falcon's talon to the eyes. Almost done. Very few steps left now. So I'll just kind of show you from the back. We finished the Winds of Silk. We did the knee from shackle break, jump, land, hook, break, and then we're going to do the Phoenix step for 12 o'clock. The last thing we do toward 12 o'clock after the falcon's talon is we step back with our right foot away from the guy. We're going back toward the back toward 6 o'clock. Stepping back, keep this up as you step back, and then fire a thumb knuckle coming towards you. This is going to hit the guy and medulla oblongata, the base of the brain. So he rushes in. You fired your falcon's talon. He rushes in towards you. You step back away as he rushes in, and you strike the guy from behind. He never sees that coming. He's looking in your eyes. You come back away from him. Snap. Grab his face. So you show a hit, retract, grab. It's important to show the retraction. Impact, move away from the target, get over his head. Impact, get over his head. Peel his head back. And then the last thing, come into a set position, peel his head back, fire a half fist to the throat. Peel back, half fist. Peel back, half fist. Return. So that's it. After you did the falcon's talon on the Phoenix, you ended with the Phoenix. You rushed in, you stepped back away from him. You did a thumb knuckle, base of the brain. This is in a guard. Grab, half fist, and then you're going to just cross your hands over. You're going to step up with your right foot, 2 feet together. That's the end of the form. And then you do the same salutation. Cat, come back. And you're done. And that cat coming back and done is out toward 12 o'clock. So just show you the end real quick. So we did Winds of Silk, did a knee, hard bow, break, then the Phoenix, step back, and that's it. So that's a big jump, I think, from what we did with Kata 4 or long 2 in Kempo to 5, because 5, no symmetry, and all of a sudden all these really cool, involved self-defense techniques. So really hope this has been helpful, and I think it's really good to break this video up into 4 parts. Watch about 3 or 4 techniques and then stop the video. Practice, 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 get it feeling really solid, and then continue on. And then when you learn something like this, it's really important, if you can, that night you get a really good solid 8.5 hours of sleep, somewhere around 8 hours, and that really helps to cement in new neural connections. Sometimes it's referred to as muscle memory, but it's really not in your muscle, it's in your brain. When you learn a new physical skill, if you can practice it at least one time more after you learn it that day, is super good. And then people will use other tricks, like they write it down, they write it out. If you can explain it to somebody else who doesn't know the form, that's really good. That really cements it in. But in particular, that night, get a good night's sleep, it'll lock it into your memory, and you'll have a really good Kata 5. You can do it in different demonstrations, win medals and trophies. But more importantly, in a street fight, if somebody grabs you by the neck, right, or they grab you in an arm lock, or they grab you by the shoulder, you have this built-in response. So they say, Ed Parker had a famous saying about, we do katas, the first level is the person's just knows the pattern, you know, they learned it. They learned Kata 5, which is great. The next level, the practitioner is seeing the opponent. Every time they practice it, every time they do the two-headed serpent, they see the guy pull them in. So they're conditioning their brain to be ready to use that technique in response to a pull. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. If somebody pulls you in and you never connected those things as you practice, you wouldn't think to do it. There's no way. But if you rehearse it with the thought of the seeing it, super good. The third level, the highest level, is where the audience can see it. When you're going through the two-headed serpent, the way you look at the opponent, where you're looking, the amount of energy you fire into it, they can see the guy because you're seeing him and you're so good at it, it's projected outwardly, and that's the highest level. So that's what we want to eventually have with Kata 5. But today's idea is just to expose you to it and give you a chance to learn it and practice it. So I hope that's been helpful to you. Again, my name is Scott Flint, and I'm the Senior Chief Instructor here at Westwind Schools. And my teacher is Master Ron Lee. His teacher is Master Richard Lee, and his teacher is Grandmaster Al Tracy. And then Al Tracy's teacher is Grandmaster Ed Parker. And if you go back even further, before Ed Parker, you have Professor William Chow, and you end up going back to Chow's dad in China. So it's pretty fun, pretty good lineage. You're now part of that lineage, you're part of that chain. So please help to keep Kata 5 correct, to keep it current, and to make it part of you so you can use it in self-defense. Thanks for watching.